West Virginia is out a ton of players right now, guys, and I'm really concerned about the depth heading into week one.
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And what is up, guys? Welcome back in. My name is Mountaineer Paul. I am your host. Welcome back into Locked On West Virginia, baby, where we're talking the Mountaineers again today on the football side. Look, guys, told you in the open there, unfortunately, West Virginia is down a bunch of athletes right now, and it is in a very crucial spot on the field. West Virginia is scrambling to try to figure that out right now. So we're going to go over that. Also, the O-line results are in, Betty. I've spoken to multiple guys today and also heard from Jack McNell. We're going to be using some quotes from him. This offensive line has a chance to be really, really good, guys. I'm not just sugarcoating it. I'm not sprinkling sugar on it. Like, I keep hearing the same thing over and over from different people. So I think this O-line is at least through 6 or 7 really good, actually. I wasn't sure how it was going to turn out because of this is just so far in camp, obviously. They haven't gone up against anybody yet. But I think they got the kind of guys they want. We're going to talk about that in the second segment. So we'll wait for that. This episode of Locked On West Virginia going to be brought to you by FanDuel, of course, guys. And when you're talking about FanDuel, we're talking about good stuff, right? I mean, as long as you like to make money, that is, right? Everybody likes to make money. Make sure you go to FanDuel, make $150 in bonus bets if you bet that first $5 bet, guys. You can't win if you don't play. Make sure you head over to FanDuel today to get started. Thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen, guys, and for being the first part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We talk about your team every single day. The Mountaineers, of course, we talk about. All right, so I'm apologizing to Avid Hunter, who says I should be more positive. I was trying to, like I said in the comments, I am positive every single day, literally, to the point to where people tell me I'm way too positive. So I get it, trust me. But at the same time, you have to report the news, right? You can't just pretend like things don't exist or aren't happening. And right now, unfortunately, there are some things happening on this West Virginia roster. Injuries, ineligibility, that type of thing. West Virginia is down to 2 running backs right now. Jaylen Divine on the way, apparently, or at camp, not exactly sure, the son of Noel Divine. But, I mean, if you're trotting Jaylen Divine out there, that's a problem because that kid ain't ready yet, in my opinion. Not saying he can't be ready at some point, but this is for sure a serious issue. We've got at least 2 guys that were waiting on eligibility now. We found out Jaylen Knighton also waiting eligibility. Don't know what for. I'm assuming some kind of medical red shirt. So that's a big fear. Then you've got obviously Clay Ash, Sincere Bowers, both hurt. Jaylen Knighton, Ty Ebbers waiting eligibility. That's 4 of your running backs. What the hell were you supposed to do with Jaheim White and Dior Hubbard? This is scary, guys. This situation scares me because Jaheim White, with 100% certainty, is not able to carry this load right now, in my opinion, in his career. Well, really, Rich Rod's never had very many guys that could do the whole thing themselves. So many carries. And it's too many carries for 2 guys to get. You really need at least a third guy. I mean, I think we have some slot guys that you can hand the ball to on some things, different things. And for sure, do some things that way. You could obviously run the quarterback more. But I haven't been able to speak with Sincere. I haven't been able to speak with Jaylen either because nobody's answering their phone right now. There must be a mandate from Coach Rod because everybody except for certain people I talk to all the time are not answering. So, um, you know, I'm gonna be honest, man. This is something that could derail our season. Not running back is probably what second, third most important position. So, on offense, it's probably third on offense, but overall on the team, I I would say it's right up there. So, running back is a spot on this. I mean, this is what this team is. We're a running team. We're a smash mouth team. Now we've got a ton of wide receivers. We've got a ton. Could we pass it more? I think that's a possibility. I certainly do. I just don't know. I don't think we have your prototypical pocket passers either. I mean, Nico can spin it a little bit. Jaylen can spin it a little bit. Max can spin it a little bit. Both Maxes can actually. So, I mean, I think we got guys that can toss it around, especially Max Brown. But without your running backs, it just makes you too probably going to make you vanilla. It's going to make you a little bit predictable. You're not going to be able to run certain plays. You're not going to be able to run certain formations. Two running backs at the same time is out unless you run a tight end and a running back or running back and a wide out. Maybe you invent a new offense. I don't know. But this is definitely something I'm worried about for sure. So BRWV fan, I've been doing this for years. So not a newbie, literally years upon years now. You can have your opinion, but at the end of the day, I get more views than Tony does. We crushed that show over here. Just keeping it real. Go look at three guys' views and go look at these views. We crushed them by almost hundreds of thousands more views. So I'm not too worried about what Tony feels or thinks. At the end of the day, if you'd rather go listen to Tony, then go listen to Tony. You know what I mean? For me though, like I said, running backs are out with injuries. You got running backs out with eligibility. It's a fragile situation in the running back room. I don't know what's going to happen or how you can replace it. There are some guys out there. Actually, somebody put I can't remember who posted this, but there is a player out there right now named CJ Hester from UMass. I went and watched this tape, man. This kid can absolutely go. I would definitely take him right now. Michigan had him picked up, so obviously he's pretty good, right? I think, you know, if I'm looking at it from Rich Rod's standpoint, anyways, a kid coming from Michigan may not be a good omen for the season. So there is that, right? But I'm all for it, man. Like I think he's a kid. He's never really technically played for Michigan. He can really go. He's got some highlights on here, but I can't play him because they're against Georgia. He absolutely lit Georgia up when he played for UMass. So that's unfortunate, man. Jimmy, your question about Noel Divine's son, can he transfer the slate? It's a good question. So I don't know if he was already in the portal or there are ways you can do this. Like, for instance, now these days, you just don't you just don't put a guy on scholarship, and then you can play him, right? So it's not exactly the same as it used to be. So he can transfer in and then just pay for a scholarship, and then the NCAA has no control over that. You know what I'm saying? So he can play as a walk on, and it's a different ball of wax. So I think that's probably what they're going to do, if anything. If not, then he's probably either already been in the portal or he's just here for practice. So it's one of those couple things. So that's my view on it. I definitely hope that these guys, and look, Sincere could be okay for sure. Jaylen, I don't know what that situation is with. Rich said twice, even and Casaza even clarified in the press conference today. It's about eligibility. He said yes. I can only assume it's some kind of. It has to be. I mean, just thinking about it earlier, it has to be some kind of medical red shirt deal or something like that that they're trying to get for him because we did find out that the waivers were denied for Jamoy Robinson and crew, which is why they filed the lawsuit. So maybe his is still up in the air for a red shirt medically. I'm not exactly sure, but maybe he ends up in court too. I mean, who knows, man? We can end up with a couple guys in court. But if you get a chance to check out CJ Hester, where did I see this kid? Somebody put him out. Oh, his Voice of Morgantown posted this, which was actually good news on this because, um, this kid was really good at UMass last year at times. Runs really hard, really physical. I wish I could show you the tape so bad. But if you get a chance to check it out, do so yourself. Make sure you hit that like button, guys. Subscribe if you're new around here. Share the video out if you're watching over on X, and let's go to break. We'll come back and we'll absolutely talk about the offensive line report that I got. Very, very fruitful, if you want to say the least. Basically, the opposite of the running backs room. We'll be right back. Stick around. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia going to be brought to you by FanDuel, guys. We love talking about FanDuel on the show here because, hell, who doesn't like to make a little bit of money here and there? Sports are in full swing in the summer, and whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game more exciting. You're already following the action, aren't you? So why not make it a little more thrilling today with FanDuel? You can get in on the game while your friends are getting sunburned at the beach. Look, I've been using FanDuel to track my favorite matchups, keep the apps fresh, and new daily promotions that I like to keep my eye on. They're always pretty fun ways to bet. If you're new to FanDuel, though, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets. That's if you win that first $5 bet. Make sure you head over to FanDuel today to get started. Open the FanDuel app or visit FanDuel.com today. Not today. Do it yesterday, boys. It's segment 2. We'll crack open a new Code Red style. It's the offensive line alert. Let's listen to some Jack McNeil as he describes his offensive line today. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised with what you hear here.
You had to say this weekend was the start of the season as opposed to 2 weeks left in camp. How confident are you could take those top 6, 7, 8 guys and put an offensive line together that you feel would win a game for you?
Well, very confident. I'm excited about this group. I think they're like I said, they have great character. And the things that we're doing wrong right now can be fixed. There's no question about that. And it's a natural progression. It's only my 40th year doing this. Every year, O-line's behind the defense. Defense, they just blitz everybody, and we got to try to pick them up. So I have not in the least bit concerned. I really like the room. I would like to stay healthy, but I think we're going to be just fine.
So that's really, really high praise considering this camp has not had much of that from Rich Rod or anybody. Rich Rod not happy at all with the offensive line group, if you let him talk the other day. So that's interesting. And then around 10, 15-ish, he has some other things that are pretty cool to say.
Something where I think you can play fast on. I do feel like, I love this offense because it's something where I think you can play fast. We're not up there making all kinds of calls and doing all kinds of different things. The ball's already snapped, so that's what I love about it. But I think we got some real smart centers. I think they're doing a great job, but we need to just press and get better.
I went back. It wasn't a little bit too late. Hold on.
Always has to be a smarter guy. I did play center, by the way. But he always has to be the smartest guy on the team. But honestly, I mean, it's
Apologies, guys.
It's a situation where as a center, you've got to set some things. So you do have to be, you have to know exactly what's going on. Center always has to be your smarter guy. I did play center, by the way. But he always has to be the smartest guy on the line because you've got to set different things and different protections and things of that nature. So, but I do feel like, I love this offense because it's something where I think you get up there.
Well, anyways, I was trying to get to a part where he talks about how many centers he believes he has. I was shocked when he said this. He said he's got 6 or 7 guys he believes that can play center. That shocked the hell out of me. I wasn't expecting to hear that kind of depth. Obviously, these would be out of position in some cases, but overall, I have, through conversations, through listening. So I listened to this today, and that spurred me on to ask. And if you guys know who I've had on the show, different people I've talked with, you'll have a pretty good idea of who I talk to. But so obviously I reach out and ask about certain things, how things are going, where people feel like they stack up, that kind of stuff, and got some really good feedback. So I'm going to give you the top 7 or 8 guys. And there's a couple wild cards that I just don't know about, but I think are in the mix that we just don't know yet, especially one name that I haven't heard a lot about this offseason. So I'll give you the 8 guys, right? So, or at least 7. Can't remember what I had. I have to go back to my notes here. So the number 1 offensive lineman on this team right now, in my opinion, is probably Kimo Makanayole for multiple reasons. I heard so much about him in the spring. So that was cool, right? Hearing a lot about him in the springtime. And then he's the first guy they trot out for interviews, right? To be interviewed by the media. That was freaking cool. I mean, Landon Livingston obviously went to Big 12 Media Days. So he and Landon seem to be some of the leaders in the room. And, the interview that he gave about his reasoning for transferring over to defense and everything, I reached out to a guy from LSU and asked, hey, why did Kimo move over to defense, And LSU was really hit hard on the defensive line, and he was one of the only O-linemen that could actually play defense. So that was why they moved him over there, because he's explosive enough to do it. Had nothing to do with him being bad on the offensive line. As a matter of fact, they all felt like it was a loss on the offensive line. He was number 2. He was a number 2 guy. He wasn't a starter at LSU last year on the O-line, but he was in the rotation. So I think they felt like, hey, look, he's not a starter yet, so we'll go ahead and put him over on defense. And he did. He played and started, and he started on defense for LSU last year at times. He played in a bunch. I think he played in 10 games. So he definitely had some. It's Makanayole. Kimo Makanayole. Somebody asking in the chat how to pronounce it again. It takes some getting used to, but it's definitely it's one of those ones. How they have it on the website is wrong, according to people I've asked anyway. So and James Makanayole is somebody in this chat sometimes, and he told me I was saying it right as well. So that's correct. It's spelled how do they spell it? Makon. It's a MakanE''OLE. So MAKANE''OLE. So Makan Iole, kind of like that. Kimo, just call him Kimo. He's a redshirt senior, right? 6'4", 290 pounds. He's a guy. He said he's playing right guard, so he's playing on the right side of the offensive line. He's really had a great camp, from what I understand, for a lot of people's perspective. And he's definitely a rugged guy, man. He finishes blocks consistently. He's got a lot of experience, and he's got a really high floor, in my opinion, as a really good interior offensive lineman and potentially an NFL career. I think he's on that borderline, of like a guy that probably will definitely – he'll be on an NFL roster next year as far as like either practice squad or somewhere, I feel like. But he's right there on that borderline, right? Another guy that's getting a lot of talk, man, is Nick Cray. We saw the one-handed catch he made the other day. He's such a good athlete. That's what makes him such a very intriguing prospect. Now, he is kind of raw in some ways still as a sophomore, but man, does he have the ideal tackle frame. He's got exceptional length, really good height, and he's really a natural fit for on the edge due to his size and developmental potential as well. Walter Youngbear obviously comes in as a kid that's absolutely a mauler. I mean, capital M mauler, guys. Walter Youngbear, I'm told, has made people look really bad at practice a couple of times over the past week. So, for whatever that's worth, that's a guy that probably going to be your left guard, right? So I think it's going to be Livingston center, Youngbear left guard, Makaniole right guard. Then you're going to be, in a little bit of a tighter spot there. I'm not sure between three guys, but it's going to be Tykees Crawford. It's going to be Nick Cray. It's going to be Malik Ogbo, and it's going to be Xavier Bosley that battle it out for those right and left tackle spots. Most people feel like Tykees probably going to win the right tackle spot job. And then Nick Cray's come on strong for one of the sides as well. But no matter which of these guys they get in, I think that Coach McNeil feels like he can win with all of them. I really do. These are the guys he was talking about, in my opinion, today. So that would be Kimo Makaniole, Landon Livingston, Nick Cray, Walter Youngbear, Xavier Bosley, Tykees Crawford, and Malik Ogbo. So those are the 8 that I think are, that are probably that are 100% in the mix. Cooper Young is another guy. Like, they're close with some other guys too. Did I mention Carson Lee? I must not somehow forgot Carson Lee. Guys, Carson Lee's on the list for sure, solidly. He's not even an afterthought. Like, I just figured I would remember him instead of writing it down. I should have just wrote it down. So maybe you subtract Ogbo. I don't know, because I'm trying to fit his 8 guys narrative, right? And based off conversations and this just not, logic, like, because it's not like I've been told every single starter or every single player. Like, I've been told, like, oh yeah, this guy's crushing people. Well, this dude's had a couple good days, like that kind of stuff. So, obviously I heard about Youngbear. I haven't heard anything about Ogbo at all. I just keep assuming he's going to be one of the guys because you're coming in from Texas. You're a 4-star guy. You were Texas. You were in their rotation last year as an offensive lineman. They went all the way to the playoffs. I mean, logically, you would think he would be a guy that would be in the mix. So if he's not, then he's either not picking up the offense or it's a conditioning issue, because it's not talent, in my opinion. And that's with a lot of these guys. So I won't name any names, obviously, but there have been certain people that have kind of had a hard time conditioning-wise adjusting to this. It's not talent. It's not anything to do with how well you play offensive line. This is just one of those. So whenever I was in the Marine Corps, whenever you would run places, like, okay, when I was training to go to the Marine Corps, we would run around the city of Huntington, right? And one thing that would make us do, we were never allowed to stop running. Even if we had to stop at a red light, we had to run in place. You know what I mean? So your heart rate's always up. You never get that break like you want. In Rich Rod's offense, it's very similar to that. You run a play and you're running up to the line to run the next play. And like, there's literally never a moment. So it's one of those things where, yeah, it's definitely going to be taxing on the defense and to some extent the O-line. But at the same time, you've got to be in shape to do it. There's no other alternative. You have to be. Like, there's literally no other alternative. You either are or you're not playing. So talent don't matter in that point. It's really mindset and toughness. So with that said, I would say there are some guys that probably didn't come in here in the best shape. They're freaking O linemen, you know? So just keep an eye on that as well. We'll go to a 6-second break really quick. We'll put a bow on this in just a second. This is Locked On West Virginia. All right, guys, we're back here in segment 3 in Locked On West Virginia. Thanks for joining in for another episode. I had not an audit, but a meeting with my boss today. A couple of things I've been doing that I'm not supposed to be doing. Number one is the length of my videos. They ballooned up to like 48, sometimes 50, or sometimes over an hour. I can talk, that's like one of the reasons, like, I'm very lucky to have this job is because I'm gifted with just gabbing along, right? But unfortunately, in a way, I mean, I could always just put the energy into other videos, but unfortunately here, I just need to keep them within that 25 to 35-ish minute range. So that's what we're going to do from now on. If you don't care in the comments, guys, for those of you that are regulars, and I see a lot of you in here tonight, do me a big favor. And if you're watching me and you see me approaching the 30 minutes or going over it, just let me know. Just let me know. Say, hey, you're going over. Because I get in the zone sometimes, or I get passionate about something. I'll get on a soapbox or whatever, and I'll just start going, man. And unfortunately, it's not going to get me fired or anything, but it's like, it's hurting my analytics because YouTube, it rewards people. Like my click-through rate is really good, like millions, in the millions sometimes. So that means, what click-through rate means is millions of people a month are clicking on my thumbnails. But my analytics for how long people stay are skewed because I'm being judged against, think of it like this. Everybody else in the network is doing 25 to 30-minute videos and I'm doing an hour. So it's skewing the watch time part of this, and causing me to look different than everybody else based on those metrics. So I have to keep the videos to a certain level, or it's going to make me just kind of, and also YouTube will punish me for that analytics wise. All right, guys, just wanted to explain that to you. Thank you guys so much for joining in for sure. We'll keep an eye on the running back room. I definitely think they're going to bring in another guy. I would love to see him bring in Hester. That would be a huge win. That's a kid that could have played at Michigan, obviously. Now, there'll probably be a ton of talent, or a ton of not talent, but there'll be a ton of people wanting his services for sure. I would imagine he's super, super talented. He would be a very huge get at this late in the cycle. I have reached out to the agency. We'll see what answer I get, but we'll keep track of that. Offensive line looking great. We're happy about that as well. Guys, please like the video before you jump out of here, and I appreciate you. Subscribe if you're new around here, and that's it, man. I appreciate y'all for joining. Make sure you check out Locked On Portal as well with Brian Smith. He just does an excellent job over there. He crushes it, and really his show is growing at a rapid pace. So I would love to see you check his show out as well. Locked On Portal, Brian Smith. All right, guys, I'm going to jump off here. Make sure you share, like, subscribe, the whole nine. And I'll see you guys either later or tomorrow. I might do another video. Who knows? We're out of here.